What's going on? Here doing my third review now, my actual first full album review for Twilight Force's Heroes of Mighty Magic. I got a notebook here that I'm going to be looking at real quick because I made some notes while I was listening to each track. Okay, so I first heard about this band on the comment section of Stevie T's How to Be Power Metal. And I was like, I'll go check him out. So I checked him out and I saw the video for Gates of Glory and I was like, okay, this is awesome. Like when they pulled out their imaginary swords along with the music on stage, I lost it. And so I listened to their first album. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. And then saw they were coming out with a second one in August. So I was like, okay, this is going to be pretty good. And so I downloaded it, went and bought it. And I was highly surprised how good it was. Like, I mean, I've heard a lot of power metal, but I was surprised just at, like, everything was just amazing. Like, I love this album. So I downloaded and I looked at the digital booklet, of course, because I kept up with all the studio updates and like the lore and all that stuff. So I looked at the liner notes and they were just amazing. I felt like I was looking at like an instruction manual to like D&D or something like that, and it was amazing. So you could really tell they put a lot of attention and care into like the characters, the story, all the music, and everything like that. And so then I listened to it, and of course I heard the Battle of Arcane Might, which was the first song they released that I watched on YouTube, and I thought it was great. When I first heard it on YouTube, I thought the mixing was a little odd, and it still seems a little, it's like very, everything's kind of low-ish, but if you actually read the liner notes, it says it's engineered for maximum fidelity, not maximum loudness, so they actually succeeded in that. And after I read that, I was like, okay, it's supposed to be like this, and I reevaluated it. And I loved, I loved the intro. It reminded me, like warriors riding into the plains, and just like a huge battlefield, just set up, going full blast. So that was really good. Yeah, that track was really, really good. I wish I could have heard the guitar solo a little bit better, but that was an excellent opening track. That really, and it sounded like an opening track. Like it was like it was like the curtain was being drawn on like a huge stage play. So I enjoyed that. And Power Wind, that was it was good, and I like the vocal approach that Krillian took on it, because it kind of like he was trying to sounded like he was trying to sing with a little bit of a little bit of vocal distortion, which I enjoyed. And I feel the vocal approach he used for it really kind of captured the mood and the feel of the song best. And of course the chorus was just like immensely powerful and uplifting, and it really just like cemented everything together. So I really enjoyed that. The composition on that one's probably one of my favorites, just because of that just all the epicness of the instruments and everything really came through really well on that one, I feel. And right, Guardian of the Seas, it very much sounded kind of Nordic to me. Like I don't know why really, but it sounded, I don't know, it reminded me kind of Vikings, at some points, and just had that feel of, really old kind of Nordic music, like it's the stuff you kind of associate with gods, which, was kind of what they're going for anyway, and stuff like that. So I really liked that track, how it sounded, how it was put together. And I liked there was like, I think it might have been the chorus, I think, where there was this really cool groove that I was just like doing this a lot too. I was like, okay, this is good. I like this. This is really nice. That like groove, just like, ooh, it's tasty. So yeah, I like that a lot. It was really, really good. Yeah. And so track 4, Fly the Sapphire Dragon. Yeah, okay. That one is probably tied for my favorite, because the orchestration reminded me a lot of Celtic music, and I love Celtic music. I love like Celtic language. I love Celtic mythology and all that stuff, and it just had like a very strong Irish flair to it that I really, really enjoyed. Like it sounded really, really good. I enjoyed it. So Yeah, that one's really, really, really good. I enjoyed that one a lot. Um, Riders of the Dawn. So one thing about this album, and I'll go into this more when I talk about the album as a whole, but all the tracks except for Riders of the Dawn are 5 minutes, at the least. And this is actually the shortest track, but I feel like they put everything into it that needed to be there without overstuffing it. Now, the composition was excellent for it. And just the quality of the lyrics, just the way that it was put together. It was like, this is the shortest track, but it's short and sweet, and it's not over sweetened to where it was like, okay, this is the shortest track, kind of overcompensating here, but it was it was good. I like the length was good for what they put into it, and I really enjoyed listening to it. Oh, sorry, I had to get my neck there. All right, Riders of the Dawn on to Keepers of Fate. All right, Keepers of Fate. Yeah, I loved how much they put the chorus, the background voices into it. It really, to me, it didn't really cement everything together, but to me, it kind of amped it up. It beefed it up really well. It's like if the whole song without chorus was guitars and drums, like all the choir was the bass. I enjoyed that really well. They really brought that out really well in that song, so I enjoyed that a lot. All right, Rise of a Hero. All right, so on Rise of a Hero, there was like a brief guest vocal in the beginning, and I for a minute I thought it was like Krillian doing something weird, but I was like, no, this is a female, and so that was a very nice kind of like change a little bit. Because usually it's it's Krillian and the core vocal, so it was nice to have like a separate vocal that wasn't him, kind of like introduce the first couple of lines of the song, and yeah, I like that one a lot. I mean, the composition was great as always, like the composition's always great in all these songs, but I liked how they had those guest vocals there. All right, To the Stars. This is probably tied with Guardian of the Seas for my favorite track. When they released this one on YouTube, I saw the lyric video, and other than the fact that I didn't know how to pronounce all their names at first, this song, it just fills me with jubilant delight and glee, and it's just an amazing song. Like, this is the song I'd want to have played at my funeral, it's just so epic and so amazing. Like, this to me could have been like the final track of the album. It was just so, it was a good length. The compositions were amazing. The guitar lead, it was all great, and just the lyrics were just so. I don't know. For some reason, this song probably resonated with me the most. I really don't know truly why, but this song is just so beautiful, and I don't really know. I can't even describe it. It's just amazing, and I loved it. It has a great message behind it. And that whole passage where it's just like where the song slows down, and they have like a little bit of guitar, and it's just it can take you through so many different moods and so many different like thought processes and so many different interpretations and everything, and just like it's just really amazing. I love this track. It was great. Probably my favorite track. I can't really say for sure, but it was amazing. Okay, and so Heroes of Mighty Magic, title track. Okay. The song, like, after I listened to it as a whole, the whole song, it just reminded me, like, you could tell, it just felt like a resounding victory, for, the Twilight Force or whoever you were envisioning fighting this cool battle. It just felt like you could feel the resounding victory just in the song, and like the utter feeling of happiness because you conquered, your enemies or whatever, and it just felt super positive. It was It was awesome. Like it's definitely a good title track. That's one of the best title tracks I've ever heard off an album. It was just awesome. And then of course this has Joaquin from Sabaton, and like the song was already great, but as soon as I heard his vocals, I was like grinning ear to ear. I was like, "Oh, it's awesome! It's so great!" I was like, "Oh my god, it's amazing!" So, oh man, that was one of the best title tracks I've ever heard. It was just so victorious, and I can't think of the word. It starts with a P, but I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. And it wasn't powerful. It was just like, oh man, I can't think of the word. Oh, but it was just amazing. It was like a resounding victory. It was just great. It was awesome. So I loved it. And okay, the epilogue, like, epilogue was awesome. And I will go into that more after I talk about the album as a whole. And so Knights of Twilight's Might was an excellent closing track. It was an excellent closing track, but I mean, I feel like they could have included maybe like a bonus track, because to me the album really seemed like it it could have been. And that's the thing. Like, it's a great album, but I think Heroes of Mighty Magic and Epilogue and Knights of Twilight's Might are like all kind of competing to be the final track. When, in my opinion, Heroes of Mighty Magic would have of course worked fine. Epilogue would have worked. Well, actually, now that I think about it, kind of Heroes of Mighty Magic and Epilogue kind of tie everything together. So I guess Epilogue would be good as just like a closing chapter, you know? Not like a final chapter, but like, oh, okay, everything's over and here's what happens, you know, like later on. So I think it's like, Epilogue is like the button scene if you're watching a Marvel movie. Or Suicide Squad's button scene, since DC's doing them now. So Epilogue is kind of like the button scene, but I feel like Knights of Twilight's Might is kind of like, you know, it's not long or anything. And when I said Riders of the Dawn is the shortest track, I wasn't really counting Knights of Twilight's Might. But I mean, I feel like it's kind of competing with Heroes of Mighty Magic to be the final track. Like, it's not a bad thing, but it doesn't really need to be there, because it's like, oh, Epilogue is great, the album's over, this is awesome. And he's like, oh, wait, there's Knights of Twilight's Might. But it's still a good track, I liked it. And so, now I'm going to talk about the album as a whole. Okay, so I'm going to slowly get more into power metal, and my favorite band is Dragon Force, even though it might end up being Twilight Force. And I just loved the whole album as a whole. It says the line note said it was engineered for maximum fidelity, not maximum sound or loudness, and that really came through a lot, especially on Epilogue. Because if you look in the liner notes, it tells you to listen to it with headphones, and I have these really big, you know, Beats style headphones, and so I was listening to it, and during the Epilogue, I could hear everything so clearly, and I could feel the movement of Blackwald as he was talking, you know, because I was listening to it in my room, my laptop, and I have like this huge window in my room, and so I would hear like tapping and creaking, and I thought it'd be like my bed or like someone outside throwing rocks at my window, and it was just so immersive. I could feel him like walking farther and closer away from me, and it would like switch ears, and it would switch ears and then switch back, and then you could hear the sound get farther away, and I was just like, I would have loved to have been in the studio when they recorded that and like found out how they did all that, because it was just so amazing. It was a great experience, and it was just, the Epilogue was one I paid the most attention to, because you could not. It was just like, and the emotion and the different inflections of Blackwell's voice, like his diction was amazing, and his voice acting was just superb. Like, this dude's amazing, and everything about Epilogue was just so like crazy. Like, I couldn't believe I'm hearing something this detailed, you know, and it's so immersive. Like, you felt like you were in like a room in the ancient times, and someone was walking towards you, and you could hear the flickering of the fires and everything. It was just amazing. It was super immersive. I loved it. It was like virtual reality for music. And another thing about the album as a whole is it's like a story. And it's a story that you can imagine. but it's so immersive and so well put together and so well mixed and just so well done in general that you don't have to close your eyes to imagine it. Because while I was listening to it, I was sitting on a computer chair, and I was sitting on my bed, and my laptop was on a computer chair in front of me, and I was just staring at it the whole time. I was literally just staring at the album artwork, and I was just envisioning everything that was going on in the music. I didn't have to close my eyes or anything. I just had my earphones on. I was just like looking, and I could just see all these fantastical, mages and warriors and all these battles, and I could envision, in the epilogue, I could envision myself in a dark room with like just a fire burning, and this guy talking about, oh, curse, the tribunal or whatever they were calling, all that other stuff. It was just amazing. It was just so well put together, not only compositionally and lyrically, but just as a whole. You can really tell that they thought about the album as a whole, because even like the artwork, if you watch the making of, they talk about how many artists they went through, and even describe the artwork, like a dragon making magical flowers grow and all that other stuff. You can really tell how much attention and detail they put into it, and it was such a step up from their first album. Like, oh my goodness, and it was just really well done. The whole thing, the artwork, the liner notes, they have stats for all the characters and everything. It's amazing, dude. And it was just the liner notes itself. You could have made into like a book or a story, and the music. You can make a musical out of it like right now. Like you could throw it up on Broadway right now. It's just they put so much thought and effort and just love and passion into it, and you can tell that it's just so well put together, so well composed and mixed in everything. It's just an amazing album. I can't wait for them to come to Florida, because I will make a costume and put it on and go see them. It was just amazing. Like I listened to this album, and I like it was a mix of me between smiling and just like or just like just being like so into it. Like it's so immersive, and you just get lost in their own little universe that they just created, and it's amazing. I love it. I'm glad I bought this album. I would definitely recommend it. Yeah, so it definitely gets a pass for me. Thumbs up. I'm glad I bought it. Yes, thank you all for watching. I'm going to start doing more of these reviews, and next I'll be doing The Speed of Dark Revisited by Angel Vivaldi. So, thank you guys.